is ludicrous for us to attempt, as some in the Reagan administration have urged, to impose our views about abortion on China, an overcrowded country where the choice is between population control and starvation. Most importantly, we must avoid any misstep on the difficult issue of Taiwan. Now, apparently Taiwan, you had the ruling class, you had the communists that took over China, and then the ruling class of China ran off to Taiwan, and then Chiang Kai-shek and Mao Zedong, and he genocided all the millions of people. Chiang Kai-shek said, well, I don't care, I'm in Taiwan now, so you can keep China, but we get to keep this little island off to the side. Very much like the Napoleon French, they took Montesquieu or Martinique and some other islands, Guadalupe and some. After Napoleon went down, the ruling class had to go somewhere, right? Or the ruling class of King Louis the 16th and the 14th. So that's what happened in China. Chiang Kai-shek ran off to Taiwan after the communists under Mao Zedong took China. And after 50 years, because that's the birth of Taiwan, but 50 years later, it might be longer, 50 years, I don't know when the fucking 70 years later, 100 years later, Taiwan has been Taiwan for a long ass time. China's China, Taiwan's Taiwan. And I think that you can essentially be on one side or the other, right? Both China and Taiwan think that there's one China. They believe in one China, and they think that Taiwan is a part of China. So therefore, the Taiwanese need to fucking let go of the idea that they're going to, take China back over. They might be able to produce some royal families. We kind of respect the damn British, right? So, Chiang Kai-shek was Chinese, wasn't he? And the communists, they were kind of on a whole nother level, so they weren't really they were left-wing, but they're like a special kind of left-wing. So I'm trying to say is you could be on the side of Taiwan or you could be on the side of China. But I think Nixon comes up with the third way here. So let's listen to what Dick Nixon had to say in 1988. The title is 99, but he published it in 1988. So that would be right after Ronald Reagan, or at the end of Reagan, before Papa Bush. When I was 6 years of age, Dick Nixon wrote these words. Most important, we must avoid any misstep on the difficult issue of Taiwan. The position we took in 1972 in the Shanghai Communique, which has been reinforced in subsequent Sino-U.S. understandings, is the one that should govern our policy in the future. So he's talking about the 72 position in the Shanghai Communique. So his position, it's been reinforced, is the one that should govern our policy in the future. The Chinese on both Taiwan and the mainland maintain that there's only one China and that Taiwan is a part of China. So they both agree on all those things. Yep, one China. Yep, one China, and Taiwan is a part of China. Well, your China or my China? My China, not your China. A part of my China. I think we should take over Britain and just make them our 51st state. Them sons of bitches is like our Taiwan. Our only interest is that in deciding the issue among ourselves, the Chinese should decide it peacefully. We cannot and should not broker a deal. The most sensitive issue is arms. We must strictly adhere to our commitment to provide only defensive arms to Taiwan, lessening the pace of our military aid only as tensions between Taiwan and Beijing lessen. So there you go. That's Nixon's position. We give weapons to Taiwan, but only defensive weapons. Don't you use these weapons for offense. And then we'll lower the pace of our defensive weapon arming of Taiwan when goddamn Beijing backs the fuck up. But we must make it clear that in building our friendship with the Chinese on the mainland, we will not sacrifice our Chinese friends on Taiwan. Julian Amory put the issue eloquently. It is often necessary and legitimate to abandon causes long supported and to dissolve pledged bonds of alliance, but an alliance like the Jimmy Dore and Brianna Joy Gray alliance. But it is always wrong to abandon men who've been friends to their fate. We may have to jettison their interest, but we should leave no stone unturned To save at least their lives, two of the blackest pages in the history of American diplomacy were our complicity in the murder of Diem and that's JFK. Our complicity in that's the worst in the history of American diplomacy. That's the worst he could think. And our insensitivity to the fate of the Shah after we greased the skids for his downfall and thus helped. I thought Jimmy Carter invited the Shah to America and this helped bring Khomeini to power. We helped bring Khomeini to power? And we didn't care about the fate of the Shah? What is going on? We must not commit a similar atrocity against the Taiwanese. Okay. Sure. I'll go with you with the Khomeini and the Shah. Diem was a motherfucker. They did not like Diem. JFK might not have been able to stop that. And like I said, he was South Vietnam. He was a motherfucker. What? Okay, so anyways, but it does, what's good for the goose, good for the gander, right? If it's okay to assassinate Diem. Many Americans who are preoccupied with the Taiwan issue fail to realize that Ding is under as much pressure, if not more, to act on Taiwan from conservatives in his own government as American presidents have been from the pro-Taiwan lobby in the United States. It is in neither our interest nor those of our friends on Taiwan to provoke a confrontation with Beijing. Ding hopes that the agreement he made with the British on Hong Kong, by which the Crown Colony will revert to Chinese control in 1997 under the principle of one country, two systems, will serve as a starting point for a comparable arrangement on Taiwan. In any case, the more sensitive we could be to the Chinese concerns on this issue, the better, both for Ding and for Taiwan. The issue is enormously complex. There is no simple solution, but the Chinese are a very clever people, and I'm confident they will eventually resolve it peacefully. So there you go. If anybody was asking, what in the hell did Dick Nixon think about Taiwan? What in the hell did Dick Nixon think about Sino-U.S. relationships? Taiwan and